It's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Listen, everything's gonna be okay, right? Just let me do the talking, okay? Just
Evening, ladies. License, please. Where are you headed?
we're just out for a drive.
Headed to the border?
Oh, no. We were just going up to the,
Hey there. What's your name?
Grace.
Are you pregnant, Grace? Step out of the vehicle.
She does not have to.
Yes, she does.
No.
Show me your hands on the wheels, please. Grace, step out of the vehicle. On the wheel.
Grace, it's okay.
I told you it was bad. I didn't give you chills. I didn't show it to Brett before the show.
Wow, talk about not pulling punches.
So I showed it to Jess last night, and she texted me back, Jesus, that's a little much. But then she texted me, handmade stuff. So that is what that is referring to. We have Aunt Lydia now on the Supreme Court, everybody. I hope you're happy. This is like a fling. You had a fling. This country had a fling with a bad man for 4 years. And now because of that, we're giving birth to a conservative Supreme Court that does not represent a majority of Americans and is going to totally screw up our plans for the future. That is what happened. Oh! That is what happened last night. Listen, it's just wow. I mean, I knew it was happening. We all knew it was going to happen. There was no way to stop it. I just, want you to know that there was no way to stop it. But watching it and seeing it was like freaky. It was just awful. I have to tell you, it was awful. At least they had the honesty to have Clarence Thomas swear her in, because really, what would a real Supreme Court justice, be doing there? Even Sam Alito has a little personal pride, I just assumed Kavanaugh wasn't there because he was celebrating and he likes beer. So yeah, probably by the time, because it was like a midnight swearing in. It was very creepy. And having these things at the White House has never happened before. I don't know how many people realize that this has never happened before. You know why? You know why, everybody? Because America doesn't like to think that the Supreme Court is political. And so we've not had swearing-ins of Supreme Court justices at the White House. We've had them at the Supreme Court. And, the only person I guess they could get to do it was Clarence Thomas for, part 2 of Super Spreader 2, Barrett Boogaloo. I don't know what you want to call that. It was really bad, I have to say. It was just bizarre. Something is wrong in, at the Supreme Court. It's rank hypocrisy. Of course, it's rank hypocrisy. I mean, they would not let Obama 11 months out after Scalia died. They would not let him have his Supreme Court pick, right? Because it was too soon. It was too soon, everybody. It was too soon to the election. And it's now 1 week from the election today. 1 week from the election today. And they swore her in last night after a party line vote. Like 52 to 48, like party line vote, which has not happened in this country for 150 years. You realize that? Not even Joe Manchin, who is barely a Democrat from West Virginia, not even Joe Manchin voted for her. We haven't seen this kind of behavior since Reconstruction, and we all know how well that went. Andrew Johnson, the successor to Abraham Lincoln. That is Donald Trump's preferred president. And you know what? Lincoln had expanded the Supreme Court during his tenure, right? And then they had made it from nine seats to 10 seats. Congress did when Lincoln was president. And then they didn't want Johnson to appoint anyone. So they passed something called the Tenure of Office Act. They did it over the veto of President Johnson. And so that limited his power to remove civil officers from his own administration. Now, why do I bring that little factoid up? Because that's exactly what Donald Trump just proposed. Donald Trump just put an executive order out that says that he can purge the government of career civil servants. Yeah, so that the only civil servants left will be people loyal to Donald Trump should he get a second term. Or, should he not get a second term, it will gut the government so that an incoming Biden administration will have no career civil servants there. I mean, either way, this is the mind of these sycophants that are around Donald Trump, because Donald Trump doesn't understand how government works. He never could govern. He still doesn't govern. He has no earthly idea. He is told what to do by, well, on the court, we all know it's the Bradley Foundation and it's the Federalist Society that does the selection. I mean, one person gave $16 million in a single check. One person in a single check to get the Supreme Court to be corporately friendly and dismissive of American civil rights. That's what happened here. Now, we're not without remedies, because I just told you Lincoln expanded the court. The court has been expanded a whole bunch of times. The court has been shrunk a whole bunch of times. You know, when Ulysses S. Grant defeated President Johnson, who was a horrible guy, right, in 1868, they went back to 9 justices, right? So the size of the Supreme Court has changed. And it usually tracks with the amount of the population. What do I mean? All right, so the more people we have in this country, the more work there is to do on legal issues that affect people in this country and, also business. So the more population, the more business, the more district courts, the more circuit courts, the more appeals courts. And usually the Supreme Court tracks with how many appeals courts there are. Well, there's 13 now. There's 13, and we only have a measly 9 justices, right? Here's a quick little primer for everybody.
It's official. Trump has appointed 3 Supreme Court justices, stealing a seat from President Obama, rushing another during an election, turning the judiciary into just another arm of the Republican Party. And if we don't act, we'll continue to lose decades of progress on healthcare, reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, and more. There's only one way to fix it. If we're going to save our democracy, it's time to talk about court reform.
Yes.
Reform means expanding the number of justices to restore legitimacy and balance to a court that's been rigged by partisan efforts. You know the Supreme Court has 9 justices, but did you know that number isn't actually in the Constitution?
Right.
The framers left it to Congress to decide how many seats there are.
Right.
And they can change it with a simple act of Congress.
Right.
It's happened 7 times in the nation's history.
Right.
In fact, changing the size of the Supreme Court is an idea that's almost as old as the Constitution itself.
Right.
And you know who had no problem with changing the number of court seats? Republicans. In 2016. When they limited the Supreme Court to 8 justices for almost a year to steal a seat from President Obama and vowed to keep it that way if Hillary Clinton won the election. And they've done it with state Supreme Courts across the country. Now they've manipulated their way to a 6-3 Supreme Court that is completely out of step with the country.
You get it? You get it, everybody? We can do this. We can totally do this, but we have to vote. They're already at it. There was a decision last night on Wisconsin ballots that were postmarked before the election or on election day. Supreme Court said, I don't care. We're not counting those. So Wisconsin, you better vote early, vote in person. Do it now. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.